opponent with perhaps something like Comet and an Emax going maybe more of an AP Nasus or a hybrid Nasus, because that does have very powerful poke. And in that case, you're looking much more for a win on CS. You're not really going to kill the person unless they kind of opt into staying around too long and get poked out.
And I think that's kind of a great point to start here, is that a champion like Nasus in this sort of environment is kind of playing more to 1 or 1.5 win conditions, whereas the reason I think ADs are so good is because they are very flexible. You already want to farm on Summoner's Rift, you can do that here. You're obviously good in Sieges if you can try and knock down the turret, and if a scrap breaks out and you need to fight, you can also do that as well. It's really why ADCs are so common at All-Stars in the 1v1 mode.
Yeah, exactly. And it is going to be Airy for Faker. It's Comet there for Vvert. So it is going to be much more about the poke, right? It's going to be seeing which player is going to be able to push the other one out. And Faker is going to be starting Doran's ring, so he certainly is going more of the AP Nasus type of route, whereas Vvert is going to be starting Longsword 3-pot. So he's trying to be able to kind of withstand the poke, and it's going to be a lot about how many skill shots can Vvert actually hit. There's not really a lot of dodging to be done with Nasus' E. It's so big, and you know, it's going to be more down, I think, to how well Vvert plays rather than how well Faker plays, because it's such a binary champion when you're playing Nasus without Flash, without Snowball, without Ghost, or anything like that going on.
Yep, two defensive summoners for both there, Barrier and Exhaust. Kind of key to point out there. And again, even though this looks like the Howling Abyss, it is almost the same map you play in ARAM. The one difference, I believe, is that you can recall, so the players are allowed to get shots in.
Yep, exactly. You can use base timings, you can control minion waves. There's all of those same strategies here in this 1v1 mode. If you can freeze on your opponent, then great, you can go for these sorts of things. But as we see, you know, Vvert already going to be taking quite a bit of damage, and Faker's trying to kind of utilize the brush. Just there's no wards on this map, so being able to sit in that side brush makes it so that the range disadvantage is not as big of a deal. And you know, Vvert at level 1 maybe at a bit of a disadvantage, but as he hits level 2, gets the piercing arrow, he's going to really need to start hitting those skill shots, hitting his Qs, poking Faker down, and trying to maintain some wave control.
Well, again, I had a quick check-in on the runes, actually. Had production feed us those. Nothing too stand out there. So, again, just very kind of standard laning masteries here. Or laning runes, sorry, between these two.
Yeah, it is a little bit interesting. So Faker is obviously going sorcery main tree, but second wind, Iron Skin, kind of as expected, the defensive secondary tree is much more built for just kind of surviving this matchup, even though he is, you know, going AP at least to start. And I do think also Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter is a little bit interesting here from Vvert. So once again, he's not going into Resolve, but he is going Domination for those heals. Every time he hits Faker, you know, there is a cooldown, but you can get the heal back from Taste of Blood. You can get some healing on your abilities from Ravenous Hunter here as well. So pretty standard stuff on both sides. Both of them going to take Mana Flow ban, try to keep that poke up as much as possible.
Yeah, and again, poke-centric Keystones as well with Airy versus Comet. And looks like Vvert kind of doing what we expect as the levels creep up for these two, pushing the wave in a little bit more, going to hopefully for him force Faker back under the turret. You can see CS right now actually sitting a little up for Vvert, but Faker does continue to get that harass down, but 230 or so does tick by Vvert, getting that first health relic.
And Faker even going 2 points E before Wither, so once again, very much so a focus just on farming, just on harassing. But I do feel like if Vvert can stabilize this is super winnable, right? This is really, the ball is kind of in his court as far as this 1v1 goes, because there's nothing surprising Faker can really do to you on a Nasus without a move block and without a summoner spell to actually close that gap.
Yep, no Snowball, no Flash, no Ghost, no nothing to really get him in range. So there's going to be a lot of trading. Again, Vvert still up on CS, but looking a little low on health, unfortunately for him. Faker getting a bit better of the trades using that E constantly.
And he is out of potions. So Vvert honestly is going to have to base. And if you base in this situation, you start to actually give up the minion advantage that you have, right? Because it is tied right now. Vvert is kind of trying to greed it out and see some of these last minions. But basing in this position, he's trying to hope basically that the cannon will delay Faker enough and sees that he is going to be pushed in. But if you stay around too much, if you get hit by 1 or 2 more E's, you're very easily diveable.
Yeah, certainly diving is possible in this game. Definitely a lot more dangerous when you don't have a mobility summoner, but again, Faker just with that harass.
Yeah, I mean, you hit 1 more E and he could die, right? So definitely has to go back to base now, and Faker's actually getting control of the health relics, so just straight up pushing him out. And we're going to have to see what the actual buy is going to be for Vvert. Double Doran's Blade, a bunch more potions so far, so is going to be trying to have the extra HP, have enough lifesteal that hopefully he can kind of sustain through this.
Yep, and we see a lot of Doran's of course, in this game mode because they are very cost effective. That's really all you want is stats right now. Faker mixing it up, again, really itemizing towards that farm win that you expected. Glacial Shroud done, got some extra potions, and of course, even a rejuvenation bead. Doesn't seem like it makes a big difference in Summoner's Rift, but makes a very big difference in this game mode.
Yeah, it certainly can, and when it's down to just kind of outlasting your opponent, any little bit of regen you can get is going to be useful. The Glacial Shroud, as you said, makes a lot of sense. Obviously, having a little bit of armor there is going to tank you up, but it's also for the mana, for the CDR there too, going to allow him to spam more and more and more ease, because if he cannot actually push Vvert back, if Vvert can kind of lifesteal and sustain actually through the damage that is coming out, it can start to get pretty rough, I think, for Faker on this Nasus, but I mean, so far so good for him.
Yeah, and again, Faker's last hitting, I mean, is a player that's certainly renowned in his lane for being able to hit those creeps. I saw Vvert miss a couple here and there. I mean, it can be tough on any stage to actually last hit creeps, and if that's kind of the condition that you or your opponent, or both of you perhaps in this case, are going for, certainly not a good thing when you fall behind even a couple creeps. We've seen 1v1 matches go down to the literal last creep before, so halfway already there for both now, actually. 56 to 50 on that CS count.
Yeah, and honestly, when you do start to get to the CS disadvantage, it can pressure you into playing more risky. It can pressure you into trying to all in or trying to do something crazy, which if the other players continue to play smart, just puts you at even more of a disadvantage. So, Faker definitely playing more of a slow approach than perhaps people would prefer from the 1v1s, but this could be his pick. This could be the strategy. We've seen Nasus come out in the past, but it, in my opinion, is just even stronger with the new runes because of Mana Flow Ban, because of Airy, because of some of these masteries that he has actually chosen. It's going to allow him to stay out there and not run out of mana for such a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that wave almost instantly evaporated as Faker, with now 4 points in that E, was able to Spirit Fire it down. Vvert continuing to take harass. Faker even has extra mana to burn there, and kind of looking at these two champions, we are now at above level 6, 8, and 7 for Faker and Vvert respectively. I don't think these are champions, though, that have particularly impactful ultimates as far as getting a kill. Maybe for Faker, it just keeps him alive in an all-in, which again, if you're going for a CS win, is all you need. Now he's actually 10 ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd say that Vvert has a very impactful ultimate for killing if you can poke your opponent down, but it's not like you can just ult a full HP Nasus, who has a Glacial Shroud, who has Barrier, who has Exhaust, and just kill him. And honestly, at this point, when you're down 15 CS and you just base now, it's your only real chance is trying to get some sort of an all-in. I don't think you can expect Faker to miss enough farm that is going to be a viable win strategy. Faker has an easy base right now. It's a serrated Dirk for Vvert, which is not going to be very effective. It's like that. Building flat armor pen is really strong against people who are not building armor, who are squishies, but because Faker already has a Glacial Shroud, he has tabbies now as well, it's not really going to get anything done for him, so it's looking pretty grim.
I think tabbies is the huge buy there, actually. Yeah. I mean, that item is already insanely efficient in every game mode, and in this particular situation, it feels almost untenable for Vvert.
Yeah, and when your opponent has no boots, Faker actually does have the option to try to run him down now because you have such a movement speed advantage. If he pushes up like this, you could actually try to go for more of the style play and just try to walk up and kill him. But for now, Vvert's got to kind of choose his moment. You're not going to win on farm by kind of playing it out slowly at this point. So you have to go for the all-in and kind of hope something's going to happen. Otherwise, it's getting close to kind of just a straight-up CS defeat.
Yep, we've got pretty much 2 waves.
Yeah, 2 waves.
Faker hits 89, so not a lot left.
Yeah, and I mean, at that point, Faker could just get the rest of CS from range with his E, right? And Faker may actually go for the all-in here, but
might as well pressure, have a lot of health and your ultimate to work with. Faker waiting on the E cooldown, just going to slam it down when he sees the moment. And again, more farm falls, only 5 left now for Faker. Even takes the relic off of Vert's side of the map.
Yeah, that's it, man. I mean, it's too late.
He's going to proxy.
Go behind.
Oh, gets Standing Corruption.
Maybe the turret's not on him, though. So he's not really in any danger at all. He can just walk back out. This is the last wave he needs access to. I feel like Faker's kind of messing with him at this point. He still has his ultimate. He's just going to go into finish. He's
got Barrier as well and Exhaust. Really nothing to worry about. Exhaust down there for Vvert, but the wave are just ticking down. Faker needs one more CS. They're going to go in for the Mano. And Exhaust down. A Barrier pop for Vvert, but Faker will get the final save.
Faker with the +6 to finish him off.
I was at 99 CS. I needed one more, and you were it, Vvert. Faker with a super stylish 100 CS win.
Yeah, he was the 100th CS himself, as you said. So Vvert giving his best there, but it seemed like Faker kind of just outthought him a little bit. I mean, if you're both going to go defensive, Faker had better control of the minion wave. He's able to push him out, you know, with the mana flow ban, with the Emax in the Airy. Pretty much just a well thought out strategy there from Faker, and it'll be interesting to see if, based on this game, other people are kind of now worried about the Nasus and going to start to ban that, because that often can happen. You know, sometimes people can come in with their own assumptions of what's going to be the strongest based on their 1v1s and this sort of thing, but it's not like they've put enough time to figure out every single matchup, right? So the different little scrim blocks of 1v1s can have very different ideas of what's good.
Certainly can. And again, you get 6 bans and it's blind pick, and you've had a couple days maybe of preparation if you're lucky for this sort of tournament. So I think you said it at the top of this segment. We're expecting AD carries to be strong, and Faker's like, I got this pretty good Nasus pick that I think might be good against those type of champions. And one game in, and already we're like, okay.
Yeah.
A lot of ramifications for the tournament already.
I mean, it looked really good. You have to think that maybe he could have tried to play it a bit more aggressively, you know, because for a while it was somewhat obvious that Vvert was in this rough spot, and he tries to go for the all-in, but Faker knows he's not going to be able to get away from that. He has the ultimate. He has everything up and smacks him down.
I love that everything remaining on the map explodes into poros. That's something truly special that we only get here during the 1v1 tournament. Well, that was a fun. We, of course, got more 1v1s, 5 more in